Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world of football and Tottenham Hotspur. Guys, a bit brighter today. Yesterday was miserable. Today is beautiful. Just been out in it, walking the dogs. The dogs are looking at me as if to say, Dad, this is way too hot. Then they look at me when we're back in to say we want to go back out. They don't know what they want, just like us Spurs fans. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope you are all well today. Smash the like button. Let's go through some of the admin. Smash the like button. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I'm putting that link in the chat right now. And let's make sure we get this channel flying. We should be on 20K. We're on 18.1, nearly 18.2K. We should be on 20K. Let's get there. Let's get there. Let's do some good mornings, and then we will have a look at today's headlines and have a look. And one of these days, we're going to do a show every morning in the summer. One of these days, we're going to sit here and go, oh my God, we've signed, insert good player into the brackets. Or it's going to be insert underwhelming player into the bracket. Good morning to you all. Let's have a look. Good morning, Finn Rickwood. I'm not going to do everyone, by the way, just the first 10 to 15. Good morning, Finn. Good morning, George. Yes, I saw this yesterday. Somebody saying if it wasn't for the injuries, we would have finished second. Honestly, this is why our fans just... how do you take that seriously? If it wasn't for injuries, we would have finished second. It's just utterly bonkers. Good morning, Tony Rodriguez. How are you doing? We are a joke of a club, and out. Listen, I think we need to accept now, Tony, and seems to be staying at this club. Big up to Shane Bapu. We'll talk about Reinders in a minute. Machina Joe. Good morning, Machina Joe. Hope you are well. Good morning to Craig Henschel. Good morning, Morton Barley. My man Gary out there in Ireland. Good morning to Nicola Polito. How you doing? Daniel Borden. Listen, Nicola, we're going to talk about this. I keep saying to Spurs fans, everyone just assumes that we're going to win a trophy and everyone will want to join. Winning a trophy for fans is very different to winning one trophy and being a footballer in demand. Huge difference. Big up to Daniel Borden. No nonsense football fan is inside the place. But we do have a football manager. We do have a football manager. Ange is our manager. Spurs rule. Again, this isn't true. This isn't true. There isn't a 100K per week salary cap. That's not true. Again, this is a made-up narrative because it's easy to say that to make yourself feel better. This is not true at all. Jack Nugent, whichever way we're going with it, another day when nothing will happen. Or is today the day? Well, I refreshed earlier. I refreshed the Tottenham Hotspur official website to see what's today's announcement. And the latest announcement was internationals for the women's first team. Before that was an in-depth look at our new home kit. Before that was take on the big stadium abseil. They don't read the club well at all, do they? Big up to Wolves Finland. How you doing, Wolves Finland? You'll be buying better players than we will. Jeff Adams inside the house. Maximum Don inside the house. Maximum Dan, sorry, who said we were more attractive finishing second, third, or fourth under Poch. Maximum Dan, this is the thing I keep saying to people. Everyone keeps saying that winning a trophy will make us more attractive. No, it won't. Being higher up the league table whilst trying to win a trophy, whilst getting better players will make us more attractive. Big up to Mark Taylor inside. Big up to Thomas Tunjic. Big up to you as well. Alex McCarthy, I saw creep in. Big up to you. That's a TTID. Savva is having trouble getting his hair right. Savva's not done anything. Look. Savva's done nothing with his hair today. He's got out of the shower, dried it, and there you go. That's what Savva's done today with his hair. Bourbon Buzzard said, I can't find any info on Sane rejecting us. There were lots of reports last night from German outlets that Sane is rejecting us and is looking at either Arsenal, Galatasaray, or Saudi. George, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Lloyd the Yid, big up to you, and said history speaks for itself. Players even turn up with a pen in their hand to sign and bugger off to Chelsea. Yeah, as I've said to many people, we're not as attractive as fans want to make out. Yes, I think we could be getting Eze's and Embuemos. I do think that better players are going to look at the club and say, all right, you won a Europa League. You also finished 17th and lost 26 games in a season. So when fans are sitting there saying, doesn't matter, why do you care? They will care. Footballers will care. This is what fans don't seem to understand. Good morning to Spurs Socials. Good morning to Martin Collin. Good morning to you. Good morning to Dan Payton. How are we doing, Dan? I hope you're well, sir. There he is. There's my man, Ryan Trestane. Ryan, call-in show, 5 p.m. today. Call-in show. Big up to Haz, who has said, big up, Savva. Big up to you. Here we go again. Oh, I thought you were like doing a Romano announcement. Here we go. Spurs Entertainment FC, once again, have no clue what we're doing. Yeah, but we have got a new kit out. So you've got to kind of pros and cons. As I said to everyone, all the people, like I saw a video yesterday saying that people like me didn't go to the parade because we're not real fans. Makes me laugh. First of all, the idea of parades, I don't like it. I genuinely don't like it. And it's not about the celebration part. I don't like the idea of being confined. It's just me. Secondly, and more importantly than that, not everybody's work schedule and life schedule means they can just get up and leave their house for 6-7 hours at a time. I saw this, that you didn't go because you didn't want to be a Spurs fan. That's not true. My wife has a full-time job. We have a puppy. I have another dog as well. I can't just bugger off out of the house for 7 hours at a time. It just doesn't work like that. Good morning to Adam Green. Alf, the dogs are Tottenham fans. Absolutely. Good morning to you. I can't do everyone. Marcel is here. Come on, you Purs. Channel member, big up to you. James T saying, of course, he'd reject Spurs. He's probably embarrassed being linked with you. Oh, dearie me. Let's have a look. Good morning to everyone. I won't be able to get to everyone. Big up to my man, Mark. The two Marks, the Cookmeister. And if any of you haven't seen, they've got a series out at the moment of Spurs YouTubers, their all-time 11s. I did mine yesterday. It was released at 5 p.m. yesterday. Feel free, Mark. You're a member. Whack the link to your show into the chat. Look, I did my lifetime 11, and already, like, it didn't matter which players I put in. There was one guy in the chat going, Savva's an idiot. Savva's a West Ham fan. I didn't put Harry Kane in it, I'm afraid, and people got annoyed. No Harry Kane. Yeah, he supports West Ham. Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. No Harry Kane. No Son. Oh, my God. Oh, how we laugh. Let's have a look, shall we? What's happening in the world of football this morning? Let's have a look, shall we? Boom. Let's look at what our mate Fabrizio Romano has said. Fabrizio Romano, let's just double check. Let's refresh this. Fab has said this. Man City and Ryan Cherky have reached an agreement on personal terms. Shock horror. Hang on, that'll be better, wouldn't it? Shock horror. Man City have managed to reach personal terms with a footballer. So it looks like they're going to be getting the deal done. Official bid from City to Lyon will be submitted in the next few hours in order to advance after initial club-to-club talks started over the weekend. So Man City are going to get Ryan Cherky. Chelsea and AC Milan are not close on a valuation for Mike Maignan. AC Milan want 30 million euros. Chelsea want to pay closer to 10. What's the betting? They end up on 20 million euros. I'm just going with a hunch. AC Milan still talking about bringing Luka Modric to the San Siro. Liverpool are prepared to seal Milos Kirkos deal with one more round of talks to get over the line. Liverpool are flying, aren't they? And Tijani Reinders to Man City. Here we go. Man City are going to pay. By the way, this deal is 55 million euros, right? Yeah, it's a package of 70 million, but it's 55 million euros. It's just over 45 million pounds for Tijani Reinders. Spurs spent 40 million on Archie Gray. Take a breath, take a minute, let that sink in. That's what Tottenham spend their money on. Great signing for Man City. Gianni Reinders, Joe Bellingham. Looks like a 5-year contract is going to be done to Borussia Dortmund. And I'll leave that there for the moment. I'll leave that there because shamelessly, what I'm going to do is when I end this show, I am going to transfer you all over to a transfer video that I'm doing on my second channel. What I would ask really kindly, hang on 1 second, let's have a look. What I would ask really kindly, would anybody please be kind enough? Would anybody be kind enough to subscribe to my second channel? There's 412 of you in here. If you haven't, please do. There is the link right now. The last word of the link will say videos. Let's have a look. The last link will say videos. If any of you haven't subscribed to my second channel, please do. It really does help. It's where I'm going to be doing all my watch-alongs that aren't Tottenham. So, for example, tonight we've got Germany versus Portugal in the Nations League. Transfer videos over there. I'm going to have the World Club Cup over there. FA Cup games, League Cup games, Premier League games, World Cup games. Everything will be on that channel. So don't miss out. Please smash that button. Currently, we are... There you go. Let's set a target. I'm 100 away from 2K, right? We're just trying to grow that channel like this one. We're 100 away from 2K. Well, Spurs rule, you don't have to be here, mate. Why would we watch that? Are we not football fans? We only care about Spurs. Well, that's probably why your football opinions are so bad, mate. If you only watch Spurs, how can you know what's going on in the world? Really, really pathetic way of looking at that there. We only care about Spurs. That's why you think Spurs have a wage cap of £100,000. Maybe if you just did a little bit more outside of the box thinking, watched a bit more football, you might have a little bit more to your opinions. Big up. So we are only 95 away now from 2000. If anyone would subscribe to that, it'd be utterly amazing. There's always somebody like that in the chat, isn't there? There's always somebody like that who can't say, good on you, well done, I like what you're doing, grow it, good for you. There's always some arse in the chat like this guy. I'm guessing it's a guy. Women are not normally that arsey. There's always somebody like this who hates. Haters. Yeah, haters. Again, not true. Not true. You're just making it up. Not true at all in any way, shape or form. Anyway, let's get to some comments from people that actually are lovers and not haters. Always haters, isn't there? Yeah, listen, notorious PIG, but listen, some people have different things going on in their life. Some people have things planned. Some people have reasons. At the moment, where I've got the puppy, I can't leave the puppy for really more than an hour on his own. Yeah. As he gets older, I can leave him for longer spells of time. I can't just turn around and go, right, I can bugger off to North London for 4, 5, 6, 7 hours. But if that's what some YouTubers are going to tell the world that other YouTubers aren't fans because of that, I think that's really childish, isn't it? It's very, very childish. We're talking about grown men. It's really, really childish to be doing that. Not everybody knows everybody's circumstance. I see people saying, not to me, but you don't pay to go to games. You don't know what people's money situation is. You don't know what their work situation is. I had a guy the other day who said, someone had a go at me and said, you don't go to games. He said, but, I'm divorced from my wife. I have the kids on Saturdays and Sundays. Yeah. And he said, I can't afford every weekend to take my 3 kids to Tottenham Hotspur. So he said, I choose to spend time with my kids. And I've got fans saying to him that, he's not a good fan because he doesn't go. We can't be telling people they've got to pay for this and they've got to pay for that. You don't know people's money situation, their life situation. Anyway, Jose, I won't keep bringing these up. Again, very childish. I love you, Jose, but again, it's so childish. People who don't know their football. I'm going to call you out. Bring it on, Jose. I'll call it out. You're saying no to Frank. I asked you 5 times for an answer. Didn't get one. Again, guys and girls, I will call anyone in the world of football out. Here, I'm going to say this right now. Come at me. I don't care. Anyone who says, yeah, but it's my opinion and doesn't offer any reasoning, That's not an opinion. I hate to break it to people. So keep saying it all you want. It's silly. It's childish. If you want a manager that's lost 26 league games, that's on you. That's on you. That's why this club won't get better, because fans don't want good managers and coaches. Hey, that's on you, my man. I'll call anyone out on this. Dennis has said, why were Spurs fans even optimistic about Sane? Would Sane want to even sniff what Levy offers him? I don't even think it's about what Levy offers him. I think it's the easy go-to. Spurs would have offered him money, but maybe he just doesn't want to come. Maybe he just doesn't want to come. Has anyone thought about that? Maybe he's looking at Spurs over the last few years and going, why would I want to go there? And as Kate said, I told you, because we're 7th in the league, that hurts. Agreed. These fans don't get it. We're European champions. Yeah, but football players and agents will look and go, what's going on over there? Yeah. People really don't think outside the box. It's such limited thinking, Kate. Players are not the same as fans. They're not the same as fans. Listen, by the way, Jose, I love you, but I just think this whole hashtag Frank out. Would anyone have been saying that about Pochettino, who came in and did a fantastic job, hadn't won anything? No, this man was loved. This man was absolutely loved. This man was loved. Again, there's too many people who don't get it. There's too many people who don't get it. Hey, it is what it is. Listen, I'm just going to say, guys, why don't some of you join me live on stream right now? And we could talk about if money's a factor or not. Of course, money's a factor, by the way. But again, it's not the only factor. It's not the only factor. All right. So let's see. I've just seen if any of the others want to join me. They're having a debate in the chat about money. Oh, Sane didn't come because of Levy. We don't know that. If I'm Leroy Sane and I've got better offers, why am I going to Spurs? Big up, my man. Always good to see you. I'm desperately looking around. I can't find anything on Spurs this morning, guys. I'm seeing now breaking news on Sky that Man United have made initial contact with Brentford about Brian and Buemo. I think we can all probably agree that Man U will probably get that deal over the line. Yeah, absolutely mental. Not putting Harry Kane is definitely a hot take. I don't think it is. You do realize there was football for a long time before Harry Kane arrived. Harry Kane is not the only footballer that's ever played for Tottenham Hotspur. Listen, I think they will. I think these teams. One second. Sorry, players we've offered big wages to have rejected us for bigger clubs. What I love is when people say, yeah, but look at Saudi. Hang on, it's mad. Yeah, but that's Saudi. Huge difference, right? Huge difference. These people crack me up. Honestly, I just wish people would think a bit outside their out the box. You know what? You can actually go and do coaching courses and agent courses to find out how these things work. Bader said, so Savva, you support West Ham, Arsenal, Villa. Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? Isn't it mad? Yeah. Due, Muani, Tamori. It's absolutely mad. It's absolutely mad. Anyway, thank you very much for everyone who's here this morning. Listen, Spurs Raw, I love you. I love that you love my channel, right? But when I say something to my audience, like, guys, please help support my second channel, right? And then you say, who cares about that? It really doesn't show that you love my channel and support me, does it? It really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter when I'm trying to grow and people are just poo-pooing all the time. So, guys and girls, what do we do here? What are Spurs going to do? Answers on a postcard. Answers on a postcard. What are Spurs going to do? What are Spurs going to do? Sorry, I'm just having a row with people that are just really silly. Oh, please stop. He is hard work. Hard work. Yeah, listen, what are we going to do? I really don't understand what we're going to do here, right? We need to kind of find a middle ground, don't we? I don't think you're going to attract the top players to Spurs. I don't think we're that attractive, right? But where are we going to go and get the gems? Where are we going to go and get the Embuemos, the Ezes? Can we go and get them? Are we going to go and get them? I just don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't get what we're doing. I don't get what the plan is. At the moment, I do think the club needs to come out and give us some clarity on everything. Are we being sold? Oh. Are we being sold? Are we not? Are we getting a new chairman? Are we not? Is the manager here? Is he not? Is Fabio Paratici coming back? Is he not? It's just getting really, really odd now at Tottenham. We haven't moved. We haven't gone and done anything quick. What are we doing? What are we doing here? As my man Perchi would say, what are we doing here? I genuinely don't know. Ryan, you don't have to be a big lover of Frank, but what he's done at Brentford has been absolutely sensational, right? You know, what he's done at Brentford has been sensational. And again, we're going to knock that, right? But hey, it is what it is. Petro said he was loved. Why wasn't he backed by Levy? I mean, it's a completely different argument, isn't it, Petro? Again, you're bringing it back to Levy. I understand, but that's not what I'm talking about. It's absolutely madness. Absolute madness. Look, again, I don't want Frank at this point. I just think there are better managers out there that we won't have to pay a compensation for. Listen, I'm not saying, again, I feel like people have problems with things. I'm not saying he's my number one. If he came in, watch how he coaches us. Watch how he coaches us compared to what we're being coached right now. We will look like a competent team, right? We will look like a competent team. Apparently, we see Kevin Danso as a Romero replacement. Well, listen, if Romero goes, for me, you've got to sign a replacement. If you don't, you've got 3 first-team centre-halves, and then you've got some backups. That's a long season with 4 competitions. Internet Vegetable. So the reason we are 17th is because we're in a trend of steady decline. No player wants to go from Bayern to a relegation fight. Tell Will. Yeah. Oh, not over PSG. Hang on 1 second. I'm going to leave this voice note so you can all hear. Stop this. It was said by Romano and Ornstein at the time that Tottenham Hotspur offered the same wages as PSG. The deal was the same wages to Doué as PSG. Spurs offered the same wages as Juventus for Mawani. Players will turn Spurs down. This is ridiculous. It's absolutely mad. Sorry, it's mad. Our fans are not all fans, but it's this. Just go and get him. Just go and get him. You. Oh, mate. Hang on 1 second, please. Sorry, this one isn't football. Yeah, big up to absolutely everyone. Listen, I'm waiting. Lots of people. We must get Champions League. Me included, we must get it. We must get Champions League. Cool. We've got the Champions League. Now what we doing as a club? People yesterday were messaging me going, oh, Savva, you're being dramatic. No one else is doing anything. And I'm like, well, yes, they are. Yes, Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, City, Man United, they're all doing things. All the clubs, other than Newcastle, to be fair. Yeah. Oh. Hang on. All the people like me saying, yeah, go and get Champions League. Only Newcastle are the only ones I can see that aren't in talks with good footballers, that aren't making moves. And I suspect Newcastle will, because Newcastle are a very well-run club. It's mad. It's absolutely mad. I don't know what to say anymore about Spurs. Spurs have two problems and need to pick a struggle. We enter the market too late and we go after players who have better options. We need to be in the market a lot sooner and go after the lesser known. For me, players like Mbeumo and Eze aren't lesser known and shouldn't be a problem. For me, those are the players I think you need to look at. But you're right. You're right, Swanex. You need to move quickly. 1 second, last one, I promise. Kate has said, Savva, I don't think this club, no matter what they do, are moving forward, planning with Spurs. Listen, I want to see a plan. We said for years, I want to see a plan. And this is the thing, right? When we're arguing that, oh, Ange did this, Spurs, I'm seeing people say, do you want to start again? Do we want to start again? Hang on. I'm going to call this person out live. Stop. This isn't an excuse for Levy. You don't understand how football works. I'm going to send you the link to some courses to go and do some scouting courses, some coaching courses, so you can start and look and understand how these things work. You are being so silly. I'm not going to tell you who that is, but he's being very, very silly. I would have wanted Glasner, but at least Frank brings instability and won't be conceded. For some reason, though, Ben, we don't want to coach. For some reason, we don't want to coach. It's a bit mad. Mate, I've seen it. Wouldn't swap Ange for Eddie Howe. Wouldn't swap Ange for Emery. Yeah. I am. No. Eltel, you're doing that thing again. Again, mate, you're annoying me now. I'm calm. This is how I stream. Yeah, I'm passionate. I stream with passion. If people don't like it, they won't be here, right? I stream with passion. The difference between me and you is I offer theories. I don't just go, I don't want this person. Well, why? I offer reasons and debate and arguments for it. Yeah, if people don't want that, they can go and watch the Happy Clappers. It's absolutely fine. Big up to Trevor Crook. So come to Spurs and get injured. Just what top players want. It's utter madness. It's utter madness. Really, really crazy. Ryan has said, at this point, I just want to get up that table. So whether it's Frank or Bonnie Blue. Look, by the way, Ryan, I'll say this again for the millionth time. There are managers I would have over Thomas Frank. All I care about is that the next manager that comes in, right? All I care about is that they can coach. I just want a coach. I just want somebody that can come in. I want somebody that can come in, get a defense sorted out, make us look solid, make us look like a unit, can adapt to the opposition. That's all I want. I've not asked for the world. I've not asked for the world. That's all I'm asking for. There are many people that can do that, right? Ange is not one of them. But hey, we'll see. Considering Frank as a possible coach and fans saying that he's not an upgrade because of his previous jobs, we have to remember that Poch came from Southampton, right? Poch came from Southampton, and everyone lost. Look at the coaching he did. Look what he turned us into over those years. Yeah, it's madness. It's absolutely madness. Fans seem to forget signing players isn't just opening our wallets and paying money. You have to be appealing enough for players to want to join. Sure, which is why finishing 17th in the Premier League isn't good. But you've argued with me all year that it's absolutely fine to do that. See, caught yourself out. Caught yourself out there, Notorious PIG. When fans like you convince me that finishing 17th is fine, you do have to be appealing. You do. Dan has said league position, dynamic of club, and their motivation to win will attract top tier players. We generally don't. We go to the next level down where players still have a bit to prove. Of course, again, we got fans, right? We got fans who want tell. Again, that next level down. One second. Hang on. I just don't get it. Oh, I'd take Jose Mourinho back in a bloody heartbeat. Of course I would take Jose Mourinho back in a heartbeat. Absolutely. I would take Jose Mourinho back. Bader said, only Savva can debate people live on YouTube and WhatsApp at the same time. Because I tell you what, I've got a low tolerance for ignorance. I've got a low tolerance for people that seem to think that we're living in a football manager world. That's my problem. I've got a low tolerance for people that just say things. It's just madness. It's just utter madness. No, I'm not talking to Phil. It's no one like that. Don't worry. It's no one like that. No one that you lot know. Stanley Kush said, whilst we have Ange, we'll not attract the players we desire to get back amongst the top teams. Listen, I'm going to ask that question, right? Said this before. Bearing in mind, I've worked with football agents and football players before. I've worked with football players and agents before. They do not think like we think. They do not think how we think. I'm going to say this time and time and time again. Spurs fans will look at it and go, but we've won the Europa League. We're in the Champions League. We're massive. Everyone will want to join. Players, agents will have a look and go, right, let's have a look at the bigger picture. What's going on at Spurs? What's happened the last 3-4 years? All right, they finished 8th, 5th, and 17th, an average of 10th. Okay, they had a cup run. Okay. Who else they buying? What sort of players are they bringing in every year? Oh, they're bringing in Archie Grays, Bergveld. They're bringing in kids. They're bringing in Odebergs, Solankis. Why don't we understand this as fans, that these people can see exactly what we are? Why? Why can't they understand? I just don't get it. Marius, yeah, listen, Stel and I had a good debate. Stel and I had a good debate. You know, there was no rudeness. We had a good debate. We see things differently. It is what it is. So you have no standards to win things then. Oh, this is the guy. Oh, guys, we've got the troll. This is the troll that got upset at every pick I put in my all-time Spurs team. This is the guy that got upset that I didn't put Kane in. This is the guy that got upset when I put in David Ginola. He said David Ginola was shit, which just absolutely made me. The moment he said Ginola was shit, I went, that's a troll. What's the point, FC? Come on and tell me why I've got no standards to win things. Tell me how that possibly works. Tell me how that possibly works. I don't understand it. Nebo, I said, whoever is next manager, it won't be below 10 anyway, including Ange. Exactly. Exactly. It won't be, but we might be coached. Sure. I don't doubt that. I'm not saying that. One might be gettable, one might not be. Yeah. Again, there's a difference between those that want their team to be coached and those that don't. I'm not forgetting what it was like under Jose Mourinho. What was it like under Jose Mourinho, Emma? Tell me. Again, facts won't care about your feelings. You tell me, Emma, what it was like under Jose Mourinho. Go on, tell me. What was it like? Tell me, what was it like? No. Gulab, listen to what I was asked. Would I take him back? Yes. I didn't say I want him back. I said, would I have him back? Oh my gosh. I tell you what, the bigger I'm getting as a channel, the more I realize our people are very hard of hearing. Absolutely, Jack. Most Spurs fans think, most football fans think football is FIFA and Football Manager. It's madness. It's absolutely mad. It's madness. Is Tottenham in a crisis? I don't know about a crisis, but I'd love to know what's going on. I'd love to know what the plan is. I just don't get it. I never said finishing 17th was fine. I said, what's the difference between 17th and 9th? Well, as I've just said to you, footballers will care that you're finishing 17th in the table. This is the thing. Again, you've not listened. I really wish some of these, it's always the ones that say stupid stuff that won't come on and talk to me, right? Footballers won't sit like that. You as a fan look at it and go, what's the difference? Well, the difference is footballers will look at it. Footballers will look at it. And exactly, 9th is much better than 17th. It makes you laugh. I started seeing that Ange is not the right manager from his first defeat when he put that ridiculous high line. Alec, we all do. Everyone, again, people like Alex say things like this. Who doesn't want their team to win trophies? Now let's be adults about it. You're clearly an adult. You're not going to win a trophy every year. So what do you do as a football club? You have to keep trying to grow and push up that league table. Don't know why this is so difficult for some to understand. I really, really don't understand. I really, really don't understand people. Marianne, I mean, the man won double player of the year playing for Tottenham. The man won double player of the year playing for Tottenham. We got fans that belittle him. Not notorious POG. They care about both. You don't understand this. You don't understand this. If you go to a top footballer and go, that team's won the FA Cup 3 years in a row but finished bottom half, or that team is in the Champions League every year and they're fighting in the top 4, they're going to go to the team in the top 4. You don't know footballers. No, listen, it's all good, Mary. But Mary, the difference is these people need to be educated because they don't get it. They just say silly things. I remember a full round FA Cup game against Leeds and Ginola was outstanding that night. Mate, I remember that night. He was absolutely brilliant. Anston's goal was sublime as well that night. Top players. No, oh, my gosh. Alec, do you want to come on? We'll have to chat. I've never said it's not about silverware. You're not going to win silverware every year, though. I don't know why you don't understand that. Why all of a sudden are we just saying bottom half is okay as long as you win a trophy? Where has this come from? Where has this absolute loser mentality come from? It's madness. Oh, Wolves feeling I'm good. Everyone's saying I'm stressed. I'm not. I just find it hilarious. Grown men saying, yeah, let's finish bottom half. What are we doing here? James said footballers will look at the squad and the previous performances before deciding to join teams. James, yes, it's basic. I know Premier League footballers. I know Premier League scouts. I've worked in Premier League football clubs. They do not think how fans think they think. They do not go, won one trophy. They're massive. They're amazing. They will look at the bigger picture. Who is the owner? Who are the scouts? Who are the directors of football? What players are you bringing in? What is the project? Who would I be playing with? Oh, I'm joining Spurs. I'm going to be playing with Solanke. Blah, blah, blah. That's why, for me, go for those Mbuemos, those Ezes. But the top players, they don't want an FA Cup win. You think because Palace have just won the FA Cup, they're going to start attracting top players? Of course they do. Of course they do. Of course they do. Our fans just don't think. I mean, if he comes down on his wages, then yeah. If he comes down on his wages, Gulab, you're telling me things I already know. I just don't get it. That if you say you don't want to finish 17th, people go, oh, why don't you like trophies? Like, where has that childish concept come from? People like Alec Lewis in the chat just waffling. They say things that you've never said. If that's the new standard, sure, then finish 17th next year and try and win a trophy. Which trophy are we going to win next year? It can only be the league or FA Cup, right? Big up, Glenn. So Tottenham are a step up club. They're not at the top of the wage of the tree where the best players want to go. Of course we're not. Yeah, listen, Man City will be back. Man City will be back. Man City will be back. Phil B's their league position is important, but as Man U are showing, it is only part of the bigger picture. That's Man United, dude. It's Man United. They're one of the biggest clubs in the world. It's Manchester United. Man United finishing in the bottom half. They want their owners and manager out. Spurs finish bottom half. You will want Ange to stay. It's madness. Come on, man. Context. It's context. Darren said, I don't think it's a good look trying to sign players if the club decide. Mate, we just don't know, do we? Have they decided to sack Ange? I genuinely don't know. By the way, you guys on the likes today, let's see what's happening. 196, 600 of you in here. Let's see. Have you been subscribing, people? Have you been generous? Thank you for the 15 people that subscribed to my second channel and on the first channel. Guys, we are 3 subscribers away from 18,200. Just 3 of you would be amazing. You know, they're not just seeing 17th. Right, internet vegetable. Again, fans, don't look at this. When we're saying, who cares? Footballers, agents, they care. They care. They care. Thane said, it's the internet for you nowadays. You can say my favourite breakfast is waffles and some will take it as, oh, so you don't like pancake? Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is what I don't like. Grown adults that just say, why don't you like trophy? I've never said. I'm just old and ugly enough to realize you're not going to win a trophy every year. You're not going to win trophies every year, unfortunately. No one does. Man City just didn't win a trophy. Look at them. Look at their players. I think we need to realize where we are in the food chain. Newcastle are trying to break that. But look, it's taking years. You have to slowly but surely, gradually grow. Surely people see that, right? Surely everyone sees what Newcastle have done last few years. Slowly but surely, gradually. Yeah? Better manager, better director of football, better owners. Slowly but surely, better players coming in. Surely we see how that works. Yeah, Phil P, you have. Absolutely, you have. I love Phil P. If anyone's never met Phil P, what a lovely guy. Lovely guy, lovely suits, lovely smell. Phil P is like the fan version of David Ginola. Aren't you, Phil? Phil, you are my Ginola. You had me at Phil. There you go. Big up to Kate and Jim. Whoever this is, whichever one of you it is. If you want to come on, feel free. If you'd like to come on, you can. I appreciate my style isn't for everyone. So 2 weeks since we won our first European trophy in 41 years, and the misery is real. It's not misery. It's not misery. Again, this isn't misery, and I'll talk to you about this. Now we're going, okay, cool. You've won that trophy. Now what? Now what? What are we doing? How are we moving on? And again, this is the difference between big clubs and small club mentality. Those other clubs have won trophies. Chelsea fans aren't talking about winning the Conference League. Chelsea fans are going, right, okay, we got Delap. What next? We want Mannion. Okay, cool. Let's get that done. Spurs fans going, let's just keep not worrying about anything other than winning the trophy. If you want to be a big club, act like a big club. Brilliant. We won a trophy we should have won. Brilliant. Amazing. Great. What are we doing? How are we kicking on? It's not misery. This word misery, I'll call you out, whichever one of you it is, Jim or Kate. Absolute bollocks. I hate this nonsense that the misery is real. The football club need to act right now. What's going on with the ownership? What's going on with the manager? What's going on with the director of football? What's going on with Son? What's going on with new signings? What's going on? Don't know why that is misconstrued as miserable. I don't understand this. Emma, I think what's going to make us more attractive to players? Did Conte make us more attractive to players? Has Ange? Did Yo? Did Hoddle? Did Redknapp? Did Poch? It's not about what's more attractive to players. The club's got to be attractive as a whole, Emma. right? Everyone's just belittling this man. I'm not saying we have to sign him, by the way, but everyone's belittling a man that's done an amazing job on a real limited budget that loses his best players every year. You lot are still crying that we lost Harry Kane 2 years ago. These clubs lose their best players every window, and get on with it and coach and manage and scout. And we just belittle them. I think it's mad. Just think it's mad. Well, there's the question. Of course we haven't. We haven't acted like a big club under leaving. We know that. And we know that. Kate, it's not misery, Kate. It's not misery. What's next? Look at the bigger clubs above us in the league that are also in the Champions League. They're moving. They're making moves. They're going. They're not standing still. And we still want to talk about the Europa League final. You know, we've got to ask ourselves, what do we want to be? We keep saying that we want Levy to act big, but the fan base don't act big. The fan base don't act big, but we want Levy to act big. It just doesn't make sense. Okay, Kate, but the fact is we know we're not in concrete talks with anyone, right? We've got to be moving. We've got to be acting. I hear this every year. The thing is, the window's only just opened. Didn't stop Man City. Hasn't stopped Chelsea. Hasn't stopped Man United. Hasn't stopped Liverpool. Hasn't stopped Arsenal. Hasn't stopped Brentford, right? Hasn't stopped Bournemouth. They've bought players. Brentford have bought players, right? It hasn't stopped other clubs. So, you know, we've got to, what do we want to be? What do we want to be, people? What do we want to be? What do we want to be? I'll ask everybody. And by the way, I've got a live call-in show at 5 p.m. tonight. People can come on. Tell me they disagree with me. Tell me you agree with me. Whatever it is you want to do. Talk about the transfers. Alex, completely agree with you. The same people that hated Ange and want him and gone, and we're now all being called. And by the way, this isn't Kate. Loads of people have called me miserable lately. Loads of people. I don't understand why. 90 minutes didn't change my opinion on the football club and the manager. Sure, just because we're not as big as them doesn't mean we can't get deals done. Again, so what we're now talking about is levels. I've never said we should be able to buy Florian Wirtz like Liverpool are. But that doesn't mean we can't get our targets. That doesn't mean we can't be active. That doesn't mean we can't be looking to act like a bigger club, does it? We've literally signed players because of conversations. Players were initially missed out on until Ange stepped in. Who? But no one of note. Who? And what, are you going to believe everything you read in the media? Oh, so-and-so didn't come until Ange said, okay, great. Who? What are we talking about? Maddison? Cool. I like Maddison. Good player. We should be able to get Maddison. Should be able to. Sure. Mark, absolutely. Players out there in the... Mark, I can't keep saying this enough. The fans might not care that we had 22 defeats. Other players and agents will. They will. It makes it a harder sell. You must have missed that info. Well, you clearly have. Arsenal are in concrete talks with RB Leipzig about Benjamin Sesko. Yeah? They've had a bid accepted for Zubimendi. So when you're saying you must have missed that, yeah, you've missed that, mate. You've missed that. City just snapped. Shirky and Reinders, yeah, and Ait Nouri. He'll be in the next few days as well. All three of them will be done in the next 5 days. Alex is calling everyone out. Kate is not. It's not about you. Alex is calling everyone out. I think people get too paranoid. Alex is calling everybody out. I get it. I understand what Alex is doing. Right? He's not calling you out. Loads of people have called me and Alex miserable and embarrassing. Loads. It's not about you. Honestly, it's not about you, Kate. And I feel like the club sets targets which aren't realistic. Can you give me an example of players that aren't realistic? I think we did if I'm honest, in January, last summer, trying to get Doué. Fair play for trying, but hey, at the end of the day, moan if we lose, moan if we win. What are you talking about? We're talking about the transfer market, mate. What are you talking about? This is where I call out stupid comments. Moan if we lose, moan if we win. We're talking about the transfer market. We're not talking about Spurs winning or losing games. Great player. Really good player. again, scout brilliantly, don't they? They scout absolutely brilliantly. We don't. We don't. Unfortunately, we don't scout well. We've really got to get better. Kate and Alex in the chat. Why don't you both come on and have a chat online? Come on. Stop each of you having a go at each other. Come on. I should be the only one having a go at people. I think he is, yeah. I think Eze is a realistic target. But as we were told last year, is that Ange was said he did not want Eze. Nick, you've had nights out with me. You know I'm anything but miserable. Nick, you know I'm the life and soul of the party. Now admit it. Come on, you fraud. Come on. This fraud here. Come on. Nick, you know I'm the life and soul. I hear this all the time. You know I'm the life and soul. Alistair Gold has said, just on this piece, a few people have responded saying there's nothing happening because everything is normal with no reason to make announcements. Saying the last bit is true, but the article itself. Okay, right. Okay, cool. So nothing really there. Where are we? Yeah, by the way, somebody just messaged me and said, can you dispel this myth that the transfer window has only just opened? Right? Oh, here he is, the horrible little git.
Right? Miserable, mate. You're miserable. Why are you being miserable for? We won a trophy. Stop this miserableness. You, Alex, the rest of them, just ridiculous. Why are you behaving like this?
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
You know when we went Liverpool together and spent about 48 hours together?
Yeah.
Was any part of me miserable?
No. No. Can we have that Savva back, please? Not this one.
Was I probably too far the other way than miserable?
No, I never say you're bordering on happy clapping. No, I'd never say that. Can you go back? Can you go a little bit more towards that way, though?
Mate, listen, I'll be honest. I want this club to give me something to make me get there. Hang on, let me put myself there and stop being rude. We're currently experiencing issues swapping the streams. Oh, thank you, StreamYard, for telling me that. Mate, I think like you, like every fan, yeah, Europa League. But in that 2 weeks, Barry, let me give you a comparison. In that 2 weeks, Man United have come out and said, Amorim is staying. Spurs, radio silence. In that 2 weeks, Man United have signed Cunha and are deep in talks for Brian and Mbeumo. Nothing from Spurs. In that 2 weeks, Man United are actively trying to sell Højlund, Rashford, Garnacho, Spurs, radio silence, right? This is the problem for me. You can win the trophy. I'm not talking about that now, Nick. I'm talking about, right, we're in the summer. We've got Champions League. Can we now act like a proper club? If that's miserable and negative, I want better. I want to move on. I want to kick on. Isn't that fair?
Yeah, look, I think I've kind of after I don't know what's going. I've got a glare from the sun. I mean, I would say the sun, but the sun's not out, so I don't really know what it keeps doing with the screen. Let me give it a quick clean as well. See if that's just made it worse. That's even worse. But look, I think since the win, we wanted to. We just, you've seen what's happened, right? We've obviously seen. We've had some information, more information than maybe some in terms of what's happening at the club, in terms of what's going on. And at the moment, we don't know who's running the club, who's on holiday, who's not, is the manager staying or going, and everyone else around us is doing business. So if we look at what's done or what's potentially going to be done or will be done probably with this first little like mini transfer window, Liverpool have signed Frimpong, Florian Wirtz, and they're going and Kirkes. Arsenal going after Zubamendi and Sesko. Man City by the end of the week will probably do Cherky, Reinders, and Ait-Nouri from Wolves. Chelsea have done Delap, and they're trying to get Magnon from AC Milan. United, Cunha is done, and then probably Mbeumo as well. So Tottenham Hotspur have got tumbleweeds, and I put it through, and someone actually just sent me a message going, that's an insult to tumbleweeds. It's it's what we expected, right? And I think all these people that are saying we've won a trophy, and I know who you're talking about, because I can't engage in it anymore because it's just silly conversations, and it's not Phil P for a change. Sorry, not Phil P, Phil Coys. Sorry, Phil P, for insulting you there.
I'm not talking about anyone, by the way.
No. But you know that we're just saying,
about everyone.
We're in the Champions League. We should be able to get. Well, Sane said no. Why would Sane say no? Tomori said no because we're trying to ship off Ben Davis, probably because I don't know. AC Milan probably still owe us money from Emerson Royale's signing. I don't know what's happening there. But look, I think that we need to go and do something. And I think at the moment we're falling behind. And it was all done. If we look at it, everything played into Daniel Levy's hands with the season ticket renewals, with the win, with everything that was kind of happening. It all played into his hands. And now the deadline's passed, which was last week, and I didn't renew. And I said I wasn't going to renew. I wasn't going to flip-flop like some people have flip-flopped. And now we're just left in limbo, and we're just a mess. We're just a mess, and nothing changes. Even when we win a trophy, we're still a mess. Even when we don't kick on.
The thing is for me is right is when we're talking about trying to sign players and everything's very quiet. What I love is the first people that come in and go, but what about this club? They haven't done anything. Nick, I hate to break the news to people. I don't give a shit. If that's like someone said Aston Villa haven't done it, I don't care what Aston Villa do, right? I don't support Aston Villa. Aston Villa didn't just win a trophy and get in the Champions League. So if people want to base us against other clubs not doing anything, great. I'm basing it against, look at what our competitors for the Champions League spots are doing. The only ones I've not seen make a move are Newcastle, right? Why? Because these people realise, and again, sorry, and not just Kate, but Kate brought the point up and others have said it. The window's only just opened. Nick, people are signing players all year round. I think people have to understand what the window opening means. The window opening means that's when the player can actually be at your club. You can agree outside of the window being open. I could go to a club. So the window shuts in August, right? End of August or end of September, whichever one it is. I could go to a club in November, offer them 80 million for their player and agree personal terms. The player won't join until 1st of January. It's like, that's how transfer windows work. Everyone's getting so caught up on, the window's only just opened. Everyone else has been in talks with players for weeks and weeks and weeks.
I mean, look, it's not, that's when, you're right. Like when everything can be put through, it can go through the books and go through this and contracts can be signed and everything else. But it's not like McDonald's where they only do breakfast till 11 o'clock and then at 1 minute past 11, they start doing lunch. And that's when the transfer window opens.
Exactly.
I think it's just, I think, look, typical example is Trent Alexander-Arnold. Real Madrid wanted him for the Club World Cup, so they went and paid £10 million to get him before that. But they weren't just having Real Madrid don't just suddenly go, oh, let me take £10 million out of my back pocket and put it in a bag in a suitcase and transfer it over to Liverpool. You know, everything has to be done. There has to be a process. It has to be signed off that by lawyers and solicitors and banks and all these other people. But we're just gonna, what we should have done is we should have said, right, I don't care if everyone's on holiday. It's not. We're not 70 years ago where no one can communicate and it was fax machines and everything else. Make a decision on the manager. Make a decision on the board. I don't care whether the kit is being launched 2 weeks after the end of the season, because that was already organised or designed whenever it was February, because everyone got the pictures and everyone knew what they were going to look like. Who cares about what the shirt is and taking a vow of allegiance or whatever nonsense? I didn't even read it because I saw it was like take a vow and I thought you'd have Madonna singing over the top of something. Do you know what I mean? So I just think that we needed to go, right, this is who we want. this is what we're going to get. This is our manager, and this is how we're going into the season. But instead, we don't know anything. You know, we haven't got a clue. We're going to end up with doing the same as what we did with Werner and re-sign him on a loan with an obligation rather than an option at this time. We're going to sign Kyle Walker-Peters because of the homegrown quota or the club crane quota or whatever the stupid quota is, because Europe is different from the Prem and everything else. And then we're going to start putting bids in late on for Eze and then say we tried. We've seen this all before.
But isn't Ellie right here? Like, when we're going, oh, but they've not done anything. I don't care. I'm looking at the clubs, right? I look at things like this, Nick. I always hear, we want Levy out because we want to be a bigger club. But then fans want to have the mentality of the smaller clubs. We're happy to finish bottom half if we win a trophy. Cool. Said no big club ever. Yeah. We're happy if we're not signing players all the while that them not Arsenal, but them down there aren't. Villa aren't signing anyone. Newcastle aren't. This is our chance. Again, this is like a few years ago. You know when Conte got us in the Champions League, right? And we're sitting there and we're saying, right, Champions League football, top manager, what are we going to do? Move quick. Let's get players. If you don't do it, you're never going to get better. But fans make excuses for it. I don't think fans know what they want. I genuinely don't.
You look at and look, not so much Chelsea to sing, because yes, we know they need a goalkeeper. We know they need a striker. I don't think the two that they've got is necessarily going to take them to, challenging. But Man City, those three signings, Ait-Nouri, Reinders and Cherky, if they get them, plus with Rodri coming back, that's a game changer just from three signings. And what they're doing is, with those three signings, they're not three signings that are 150 million pound players either. You look at what they paid for Haaland, 55 million or whatever they paid for him. It's what they can bring. And we can't even sign a Leroy Sane on a free, even if his wages are 240k. It doesn't matter that, because look, we can't just sign players like that, even for free. We can't sign relatively better players than what we've got. We're still worrying about the Archie Grays of the world and all of this.
The thing is, use him as an example. And again, lots of what we talk about is conjecture and report. I'm not going to go on record and say I know for definite that Leroy Sané's been offered this and turned down this, right? Look at a player like Leroy Sane. Whatever people want to say about him, he's at Bayern Munich. He's played for Manchester City. He's got 69 German caps. This is a top footballer, right? Do we really think that we will rock up and we'll be the only team that want him, the only team of interest, and that we've got a God-given right to get him? People like Leroy Sane and his agent. His agent will get the phone call and go, okay, Tottenham are interested. Okay, cool. What's going on there? They're going to look at all the data, right? Agents are very clever human beings. You don't think that agents just go there. That's Tottenham. They're going to turn around and go, okay, right, let's break this down. What's happened with Tottenham in the last few years? Where have they been finishing? All right, cool. They've won a Europa League. Yep, they're in the Champions League. Who have they been buying? Oh, they've been buying Gray, Bergvall, Odegaard, Danso. Who will you be playing with? Oh, do I want to do that? Football fans seem to think you just rock up, tell Sane there's 250 grand a week, and he goes, I'm absolutely on board. There is so much more to it, and no one wants to see it. Not no one, but so many people don't want to see the actual intricacies of how a transfer works rather than thinking it's Football Manager, right? It's absolutely mental. I get it if we didn't get Sane. I get it if he wanted to go elsewhere. For me, we've got to be sensible with our signings. Sensible signings. Go to clubs, smaller clubs, where we can take their better players, right? Scout better. But people just want to bury their head in the sand and say we can sign absolutely anyone if you whack the money down. And it's ridiculous. Oh, and Nick's not there. So Nick's not there. Sorry, I was waiting for Nick to come in and answer, but he's not there. He's probably on a work call or something. Cool. We're in talks with another 17-year-old from the MLS. Brilliant. Fans will big that up. Fans will want that. Right? They will. There are fans that big that up. Brian, the difficulty is when the words negative and positive come out, I think what that means is, you don't agree with me, negative. Oh, you agree with me, positive. And I think that's the world we live in. And I understand a lot of YouTubers use it as clickbait. They're all negative. Why? Because they disagree with you. They're negative. The positive fans, the real fans, what the fans that agree with you, the fair weather fans, what the ones that disagree with you, that's what YouTubers do. That's what football fans do. You fair weather fans, why am I fair weather? For wanting better. You know, it's madness. It's madness. It is what it is. Sorry, Nick's still not there. Okay, we'll get him back in a minute. Mitrovic might be available from Saudi. I'll tell you what, I'd have Mitrovic over Solanke all day, every day. Goal scorer. I think he's a much better goal scorer. Doesn't mean that he'd be my number one target, by the way. I know what people are like. They're just going to turn around and say, I don't know. I don't know. Reports, different people commenting and reporting that he has. Mate. Come on, it's the transfer world. Who knows what? Nick with a Sean on a video walking to the Brighton game saying he didn't care about the result. Now he's criticising the clip. Nick with Sean on a video walking to the Brighton game. Nick with Sean. Oh, I see. Oh, we'll ask Nick when he comes back. Absolute flip flop. Just kidding. Hang on 1 second. And spoken to agents and players. It's convoluted, not just on wages. It's utter madness. Vardy over Mitrovic. Listen, I'll be honest, I don't want Vardy or Mitrovic. I don't want Solanke either. So it is what it is. Yeah, Martin, I do, because at some point, people will stop being silly. At some point, you have to hope, Martin, that these people will stop being silly. You have to hope that people will just stop saying stupid things, right? You have to, like, if we have a look, right? If you have a look, if I'm a footballer, whichever footballer I am, right? And let's say Newcastle come in for me, right? I play for Bayern Munich. Let's use Leroy Sane. If Leroy Sane, right, I'm Newcastle United, I go in for Leroy Sane. Leroy Sane's agents, what are they going to look at? They're going to go, okay, cool. Look at their owners. They've got loads of money and they're going to put money in. Okay, cool. All right, look at players like Bruno Guimaraes, Isak. I'll be playing with Isak up top. Okay, good player. I'll be playing with Tonali, Guimaraes, cool. Anthony Gordon's on the left. They're very good in defence. Eddie Howe's a good tactical coach. Look at the director of football's very good. Right? They've been getting better year on year. 2 Champions League qualifications in the last 3 years. You start ticking the boxes as a player, don't you? You start ticking the boxes. Now, when you look at Spurs, sure, this year we qualified for Champions League. Now look at everything else. Who's the director of football? Who am I playing with? I'm playing with Papa Sarr. I'm playing with Solanke. I'm playing with Brennan Johnson. I'm playing with Odegaard, right? Where are they going? What's the plan? Footballers think about these things. Agents think about these things, right? And I know people don't want to hear it. They just want to believe that every player, you go 250 grand, they go, yes. Listen, I get it why people are going to Saudi. Some of them are being offered 600, 700, 800 grand a week. I get it. I understand it. I don't agree with it, but I get it, right? But we've got to not just assume that every single player will want to join Tottenham Hotspur. Not every single player will want to join Man City. Players will have their own motivations. Where is the club? Where do they live? What family have they got? Where do their kids go to school? Are their kids at an age where they can move them? Do they have kids? Obviously, that changes everything. If you don't have kids, it changes everything. Do I want to live in another country? Do I want to learn another language? There are so many things that we just don't take into account. And All I try and do is sit on the fence a bit and look at that. And people go, oh, you don't want what's best for Spurs. Of course I do. I just also understand that it's not that easy. Some just look at what gives them the biggest agent fee. But again, Notorious PRG, they're going to get big agent fees anyway. Again, this is where we're saying things without knowledge of what happens. As I've just said there, look at location, wages, playing time, personnel, who's the director of football, what's been the history of the club in recent years, what's the trajectory. All of these things play a massive part. All of these things play a massive part. Players don't care about where you've been. They care about where they think you're going next. I think it's both C to the fourth. Players will look and see what's been going on at Spurs. Yeah? They will look and see both. I agree with you, though. They'll look about what's going next. Yeah? Oh, he says, but again, you guys aren't listening to a bloody word. You're not listening to a bloody word we say. You're just coming out with the basic bottom line. I really wish you guys would go and work for a football club just for a day to see how bottom line and basic this is. Anyway, look, football fans will be football fans. I get it. We all say stupid. As I say, I always say this. I'm very lucky I've had the opportunity to work at a football club too. I'm very lucky that I've seen how different it is to what fans think it is. When you go to a training ground, it's not like you think it is. When you go to this club, you think that the players are just swimming around going, I'm going there for 300K. I'm going. It's very different. People are on the phone all day, every day with agents, talking, cajoling. This piece is moving. It's like a game of chess. It's convoluted. These deals aren't easy to do. But hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. What's your top signings this summer? I want people like Eze. I would love an Mbuemo. Why can't we get a Paulinho on loan? Why can't we? Why can't we? Hang on, here we go. Here is the link. Yeah, hang on, here is the link. I will explain to everyone how a Premier League club works. Any player agent is going to be asking, who is the manager going to be? Who else are you get signing? Glenn, my friend, right, has made over 500 appearances in the Premier League and the Championship, right? Not going to say who it is, right? I went to school with him, okay? He's retired now. I went to school with him. When I speak to him about football, he always laughs like he laughs at what I do, and he's like he sometimes watches the comments, and he's like, people are just crazy. Like people just they just say anything they want, right? They just say whatever they want and think it's true. When I actually sit down and speak with him about stuff, I was like, when you moved from there to there, what happened? And he was like, mate, I wasn't even going there. I was actually meant to be going there. But then we sat down, we had a look at it, and that didn't work. And then they pulled the plug and I pulled the plug, and the wages here were less, but I liked what the manager was. And blah, blah, blah. But then you come into chat rooms like this and everyone goes, just pay the money. My mate turned down 10, bearing in mind, right? Bearing in mind that this is years ago. This is probably about 10, 15 years ago. My mate turned down $5,000 difference from one club to another because he preferred the manager here and the structure over that club. So when people just say wages, it's not true. It's not true. Yes, for some players, they will just go where the wages are, but players now are going to get massive wages wherever they go. Tell me a club that pays poorly. Tell me a club that is in European football that's not going to pay these players handsomely. It's not Lee Bowyer. I actually have met Lee Bowyer a few times. It's not Lee Bowyer. Lee Bowyer is older than me. Thank you very much. But there's players that, I've got another mate of mine. When he was younger, played for Wimbledon, like the Wimbledon when they were Wimbledon. Then he spent multiple years at the MK Dons, and every year he'd tell us, oh, this club have come in for me, or this club, and we're like, why don't you go there? Why don't you go and play for him? And he's like, yeah, but look at what they do. He's like, look at what they do every year. He's like, I'll go there, then they'll sell their best 2 or 3 players, and then I'm stuck there on a 3, 4, 5-year contract. And we don't think about that as fans. We just say, just chuck the money. And it's mental. So I'm saying, sit down. I know it's not that simple. Speak to players, speak to agents, speak to coaches, see how it works. It's so different. Ben, have you WhatsApp me, Ben? Yeah, Ben, I'll send you the links. There we go. Paste. Boom, boom, boom. Let's send this link to Lubo as well. I like Lubo. I could speak to Lubo about football all day long. There's Lubo. So hang on, here we go. Sorry, sent you the link. And that's all I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to get a little bit of. Oh, hang on, I don't like that view. There we go. I like that view. There he is.
There we go.
Oh, sorry. I would move you to the top, but unfortunately, StreamYard's having issues with swapping streams. Ben. Oh, bye, Nick. Nick hates you.
He's gone. Yeah, he does.
What, Ben? I just feel we're in a strange world now, right? We're in a strange world where everyone just thinks if you just chuck £3 million at players and £300,000 a week that they're just going to come. One, Tottenham don't operate like that. And two, footballers think about many things. So that's all I'm saying. I'd love to have your opinion on it.
It's people think footballers are thick. People think footballers are thick. I have had the pleasure of speaking to 2 very hello to the chat, by the way. I'm going to say hello to the chat. I've had the pleasure of talking to 2 people in football. Of course, Mr. Fabio Capello. I've explained this many, many times that I've had many and many football conversations with the gentleman, and of course his president at the time, Mr. Antonio Giraldo. And people think footballers don't have an analytical brain. People think football is a fairy tale. Football is not a fairy tale. When you're transported into that world, I think that's one of the things Savva's trying to convey. We're trying to think, oh, because it's our dream to be a footballer, it must be a dream for them, blah, blah. Once you get into that space, it's like any other day job. This person wants to work with that person. This person wants to be there. This person wants to be managed by this person. Oh, people like this organization, but they don't like the manager they work for. It's more closer to what we do on a day-to-day basis than meets the eye. And like people like transfer fees, people will say, oh, they don't want to accept that transfer fee. They can accept a lot more money than that. But then the owner of the football club be like, wow, I've just been offered stupid amounts of money. I can't say no to this. It's people think footballers are mercenaries. They're not mercenaries. They are just people wanting a better pay for themselves. Of course, people want to be playing for the best football clubs. They want to be playing for the biggest clubs. But if the biggest football club isn't for them, it's not a right job for them. Football is a job. And I think I should be talking like Savva. But it'll be back soon. Let's see what people. And guess what? The UEFA broke their rules and yeah, they did. They certainly did. The one that started at Arsenal. I went to school with a footballer. His name is Jack Payne. I don't speak to him anymore, but he played. Who did Jack play for? He played for Huddersfield Town. He played for Southend. He played for Lincoln City. I don't know where Jack is at the moment. There he is. Let's have a look.
Who are we talking about?
I'm talking about a gentleman I went to school with by the name of Jack Payne. He's currently on the books.
He played for Charlton, right?
He played for Charlton. He played for Charlton. He played for Southend.
Yep.
It's such a difficult. People think, oh, you're getting £3,000 a week more. Yeah, but is it a good job? Is it a good job? Because one of the things I was conveying, Savva, is people think football's a dream. So it must be like a dream. And it's like, bish, bash, bosh, it's over in 10 years. Now you're back to being a normal person. It's like it's a normal job. I want to work. I don't like this manager. My other half is having issues at the moment where she's working. They're not managing her correctly. So she's looking for this. And then it's a normal job. People might not think it's a normal job because it's football. You're in front of millions of people on the telly. It's a normal job. It's like you have the same constraints. It's just magnified by the fact that we're all talking about it.
Do you know what? My mate Michael Boswick used to play. This isn't the guy I was talking about just now. I know a few footballers. And by the way, when people go, "Oh, you know, footballers," they're not special. They're just normal human beings, right? They're just human beings, right? They are normal blokes. And my mate Michael Boswick, I haven't spoken to him for years actually. When we grew up, he was at Millwall, then went down to some of the lower leagues, worked his way up, played for Stevenage, played for Peterborough, played for Burton. But he always moved to where the manager was that he liked. He always moved to a manager that would say, I know what you're about. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to build around you, or you're going to get this game time. So it's not always, I'm just lower levels. I'm on $5,000. They're offering me 8. I'm going there. I know football fans think it's that, but you've got to take into account, okay, if I'm on $5,000 a month and I live in the Midlands, right now I'm moving to a London club and I'm on $8,000 a month. That $3,000 a month doesn't really make a difference with the cost of living. Right. So football fans don't think about that. Now, obviously that's a lower level, that's a lower league level, but it's things like when we're talking about so-and-so should just come and join us. Okay, well, maybe so-and-so's wife doesn't want to move from Italy to England. Maybe they don't speak English and want to move from Spain to England. Maybe their kids are in a great school in Germany or Spain and they go, actually, no, I don't want my kids to be there. Other players don't care about that. Other players, where's the pound note? I get it. But you have to ask yourself, if you're just getting players...
That only happens when you're offered... Saudi's the big thing on people's minds. They're going there earning $700,000 a week in some cases, tax-free. Imagine $700,000 a week, tax-free for 3 years. That's 4 generations of your family that can live in total comfort for the foreseeable. That's infinite money. But again, they're offering that. The reason they're offering that money is because it's unsustainable. They're offering it because they have to. They physically have to up the product. If they don't up the product will die. So they're speculating to hopefully accumulate. Whereas the Premier League, we've already got a product. Serie A already has a product. Bundesliga has a product. Ligue 1 now has an even bigger product after PSG just absolutely mollywopped Inter Milan 5-0. They don't need to offer stupid money because they're like, you don't mean a lot to us, buddy. If you leave, we've still got a great product here.
Exactly.
La Liga's the only one when Messi left, they were like, shit, we've got no money now because the only offer we had was Barcelona and Real Madrid, and the league wasn't that great. And they're like, we're losing all our product. We've now got to cut all the wages back so we can support this product. And now La Liga is getting up to that point where La Liga is becoming a really good product because they don't have the burden of Real Madrid and Barcelona chugging all the money away from them because they've got clubs like Betis, they've got clubs like Girona now. They've once you've got a product, they're going to want to come to you because it's the football is going to be the driving product.
The thing is, well, I mean, let's use Bruno Fernandes as a casing point. Listen, I've got maximum respect for Bruno Fernandes, right? $700,000 a week, like you said, that is life changing. Like, by the way, I'm not suggesting that Bruno Fernandes and his family are poor. I'm not suggesting that in any way. But $700,000 a week is off the scale, Rich. Right? Yeah. That is what is that? 7, 14, 20. That's 2.8 million a month over a year. What's that? Nearly 3 million. That's nearly 36 million pounds a year. Right? Yeah. Now, he said yesterday he used it. Right? He said, I spoke to my wife. We had the conversation, and I want to stay in Europe. I want to play in the top leagues. I like that. Right? But at the end of the day, I just think that everyone seems to think that every player is a mercenary. Yeah. That every player is a single guy that can just not worry about family commitments and children. Now, some people will move their kids. I'll tell you what, let's look at this. Have any of you seen the Beckham documentary on Netflix?
Yeah, it's great.
Right. Now, there's a really good episode in there where you see the strain put on Victoria Beckham and the kids constantly moving around from France to Italy to the US to England to, right? And you see that moment with Victoria Beckham saying, no more. No more. Don't want to move. No more. Stop moving the kids. And you see it as forget that they're famous, forget that they're millionaires. We don't want to move. We don't want to get up. The kids have got friends, that we've got a life. And no one takes those things into account. We literally just say every player's going to come because you chuck the money down. Maybe Leroy Sane doesn't want to live in England. Maybe Leroy Sane wants to live in England.
He's already done it. He's already lived in England.
Right. So, at the end of the day, I just think we need to, if we get back to the point of this, the transfer market, I'm not asking Spurs to go and sign the greatest players from the biggest clubs. Yeah. I just want us to be sensible, Ben, in the transfer market. Sensible.
We've had this conversation on and off camera many times, Savva. What do Tottenham need at the moment? Because I think we've actually got a good nucleus of players. Forget that we finished 17th. I put that down to the tactics in the league and the fact that we gave up with the league in December. And it basically
we'll have to disagree on that.
I think tactically that is the reason we're losing games of football. I don't think we're losing games of football necessarily because of the players.
I agree on that.
I think Tottenham Hotspur need bread and butter footballers. I don't think we've got any of them. I don't think there's a single player you can say. I'm thinking like a Scotty Parker. Wilson Palacios. A stalwart player that's going to come in and give you an 8 out of 10, and it's going to drag you through a game of football. We've got too many players that are. We need some proper solid footballers that are going to create a consistent basis, which makes the players like the James Maddisons, the Sonnies, the Solankis play better. We've got players we've got nothing in the middle. We've either got really poor quality or really good quality. We've got nothing in the middle. You need that consistent basis that says no matter what happens, this team's still going to be good, even on an off day, which is why we're losing. We're either winning games of football really well or getting battered.
Do you know what? I completely agree with you, Ben. Every now and then, do you know what? My uncle used to call them muck and bullets players, and he wasn't being derogatory to them, but you need a Scotty Parker. Every week, I know what I'm getting from Scotty Parker. Yeah. Every week. Now, some people will go, oh, he was okay. Scotty Parker gave his all every week. You knew what you were getting. He did his job. He tackled. He worked hard. He got the ball. He won it. He gave it to other players.
Yeah.
Right? We seem to have players like Bentancur and Basuma that sometimes they do that and you go, very good. Other games you go, were they playing today? And you're 100%. We need some men. And I've likened this. Hang on, was that my front door? I've likened this to Aston Villa, right? Because
John McGinn, bread and butter footballer.
John McGinn, Tielemans, Kamara.
Yeah.
Every week, you know what you're getting from them. Every week, they are giving their all. Every week, they get the job done. Not saying they win every week. I watch ours with sometimes players, right? And that's why when I judge players, like if I turn around and said I'd rather John McGinn than Bentancur, people will lose their mind.
Yeah, they would.
I want the consistency. I want the leadership. I want the man who every game is going. I don't want
the funny thing is, Savva, I think Tottenham fans don't like those sort of players. I'm not saying this guy is the solution. We had one of those players for about 3-4 years. I think he was here 3 or 4 years. We had Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. Barely missed a game of football. Always gave you a performance. Whatever happened, this is what Højbjerg was. Didn't suit the system, but I don't think any player suits the system. But there's a reason. The two of the top managers in Europe that have ever happened in Jose Mourinho and Antonio Conte, he was their first player on the team sheet every single week. Højbjerg's in midfield because they knew whatever happened, they didn't have to worry about Pierre. They didn't have to worry about him. So the players they needed to worry about are the ones that need a bit of an arm around them or someone that's going to need a bit more tactical analysis. I don't need to worry about Pierre. I don't need to worry about Toby. I don't need to worry about Jan. I don't need to worry about Ugo at the time. They're going to give me a performance.
Yeah, they're just going to get on with it.
They're going to get on with it. Whereas we've got loads of players that need arms round them. We need loads of players that need an arm round them and need a bit of like Basuma. I think Basuma needs a manager that puts an arm around him and says, "You're my guy. You're going to do this for me." And then Basuma becomes that guy. I think we've got too many of those. We don't have enough. What's the word? Self-motivating people. I think we've got loads of players that need to be motivated.
But isn't that what happens, Ben, when you buy a load of kids and loads of foreign players? Now, what I mean by that is, where's your hardcore pros that have been there, seen it, and done it in this country? Who have we got in our team that falls into that category? You know, we used to have, as we said, the Wilson Palacioses, the Scotty Parkers, the Dawsons. You know, we used to have these players in abundance, right?
Yeah.
Now we've got a lot of kids, and again, you watch when we're linked with kids, you've got more people saying we want more kids, and again, when you walk into a training ground, you feel it. When the pros are there, you watch at Liverpool, right? I bet you any money you want, if you walk into the Liverpool training ground, I bet you the vibe there is immaculate because of Mo Salah, because of Virgil van Dijk, because of leaders like Andy Robertson, right? I bet you any money you like, you go in there, those guys keep it real, keep it honest, keep people grounded, winners with experience. I bet you go to the Spurs training ground, everyone's, we've got Sonny, who's our captain, again, who's, I want men, I want leaders, you know what I mean?
So I bet the training ground at Tottenham Hotspur is like an old school it's like an episode of The In-Betweeners. I think that's what the Spurs training ground is like. I bet it's hectic. I reckon Sonny is immaculate because I think Sonny has always been immaculate because he's always had that mentality. But I reckon the rest of it is an old school. I think I bet Madders is climbing the walls. I bet Romero's offering out the year 11s. I bet I bet it's hectic. I bet it's really hectic, and I bet there's no aura of we're getting things done. I think it looks like a social club.
No, so I wasn't shaking my head at you. Yeah, I was shaking my head at this. Yeah, no, mate, absolutely. I feel like whenever we see, like they release videos, right, of look at them, they're all having fun and they're all doing these little handshakes together and they're all playing Uno. I don't care about that shit, right? I don't care about that shit. And this is why I love listening to Roy Keane. Roy Keane, can you imagine Roy Keane in a training ground? That man's standards would have been boom. Every day, you train well, you eat well, you play well, you are the standards. When you got loads of kids, where's the standards? These kids, they don't have the standards. They're kids. But we don't want to buy those experienced players. So let's go and do that. But then we get fans going, but I'm just using him as an example. Oh, but Leroy Sané's 29. So what's wrong with having a grown man there? What's wrong with having experience? We don't want anyone with experience. We don't want anybody that's got a bit of fight.
You do need a few of those, don't you? One of the things people said about when Ronaldo went to Man United, and I know it was a disaster, I bet all the kids in that Man United academy were swarmed around Ronaldo every single day. How is he getting to work? How is he eating? How is he training? How is he looking up? You need a few of those for the younger players that are going to be like, he's a seasoned pro, he's won everything. If I act like him and I behave like him, maybe we can be better. You've got to have that person that drags everything up.
Yeah.
You do need those.
By the way, Sky Italy are saying that Rafa Leao will only be considered for sale if they get £109 million. Just putting that out there for anyone that thinks that players like that just move for fun. Look, I think one of the key things when to consider as well when we're looking at training grounds and how players play, how players train. Big up, Lubo.
How we doing, guys?
Hello.
Yeah, good. We're just talking about the need for. We're talking about the need for some professionalism, from seniority, some standards within that training ground and the dressing room. Talking about, the way that Toby and Jan would have just commanded respect and would have had standards, the way that Roy Keane does, the way that, you look at, I reckon a John Terry at Chelsea would not have let those standards slip. Lubo, we're desperate for that, aren't we? Desperate.
I think. Listen, I think it may not happen this window, this season, but I think it's going to start to happen now that there's a change on the board. There seems to be just, we don't know too much about what's going to go on over the next few days, weeks, months, but there seems to be a clean slate that's being prepared now for this football club. And that's just part of it, isn't it? Just getting in leaders, getting in people who will command respect from the younger players, and to raise the standards at our football club. So, fully agree. I think we might be a way to go because of changes of personnel. Who knows? Maybe 4 weeks away. Maybe it's going to be this season that we're going to have the right players in. Time will tell. But we're a shambles at the moment, and it all needs to change.
Yeah. It does, and we were just talking about players that we used to have back in the day, like people like Wilson Palacios, people like Scotty Parker. Footballers that weren't. Don't get me wrong, Lou, but I thought Scotty Parker was a good player. But footballers that weren't setting the world alight, didn't have sexy names, probably didn't sell millions of shirts. But players that every week, none of us would argue that they should be in the 11, right? Because you knew what they were going to give the team. That seems to have gone, lads. It seems to have gone from Spurs.
Tommy Huddleston's another one. Tommy Huddleston.
It's just been the last few years haven't been that good, have they? In all honesty, it's just been really poor for the last 6 years. So
no, absolutely. Do you know what, guys? This is why I really wanted. I was knocked down for this so many times last year, and I know it wasn't going to happen before Lubo tells me off. Lubo, honestly, guys, you have no idea. Lubo tells me off about 15 times a day via text, phone call, WhatsApp, YouTube.
Slight exaggeration, but it's okay for clickbait. Don't worry, it's all right.
Only 14. Only
you're
14.
On YouTube,
yeah.
Not that you're ever prone to exaggeration, Sav. But
hey, this is why I desperately wanted a Conor Gallagher in our team. This is why, guys, I wanted. You watch that boy. I say boy, he's a man, but, compared to me, he's a boy. I wanted that boy 100% every game, covers every blade of grass, loves the fight, loves the tackle, loves the interceptions, gets up and down, leader of men. That is exactly why I was so happy when we were linked. I know we weren't going to get him because of Chelsea links, but that's who I want, guys. I want a Gallagher type.
Yeah, I understand it. It's who the manager wanted as well. It's who the manager wanted, but it was just never going to happen. And you've got to have people with standards of the foot. One of them, like we've all heard the John Terry story when AVB took over and he gave everyone tickets to the tickets on the plane to go to the pre-season tour, and he put like academy products in first class, and he put John Terry, Drogba, and Lampard in economy.
Mm-hmm.
And Drogba and Terry and Lampard were like, no, we're not fucking having any of this.
Yeah.
We're not having this. We're the people that bring the money in. These are kids. They're not getting first class. We're sitting there. You need people like that do say, right, we're the people. You do need to have a self-policing dressing room as well. You've got to have that. And a lot of people say, oh, it's just AVB stamping his authority as the boss. But it's not really good management, isn't it, to put your 3 highest players and the ones that have done it week in, week out for the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years in economy, whilst you've got academy products that have not done anything.
I mean, you
need
want
to have those sorts of characters in your dressing room that.
So doesn't this go back to the days, because you want your younger players saying, I want to be sitting up where those players are, right?
Yeah.
And Lubo, doesn't this go back to, like, I remember when I was young, it kind of died out, but when I was young, it was the whole kind of, you know, the youngsters cleaning the boots of the players, you know, being grounded, cleaning their boots, you know, being in awe. I think a lot of the issue now with football is a lot of that seems to have died. You know, these young players are, you know, when I go past the Charlton Athletic training ground, this is Charlton Athletic, by the way, who've only just been promoted to the Championship. The players are all driving around in the great big Range Rovers and Lamborghinis and Bentleys, and you're like, they're in League One. Right?
Yeah.
These players are in League One. They're like 19 years of age. They've done nothing in football and they've got everything. Do you think a part of it could be that, Lubo, that everyone's got everything too quickly?
Well, you could say that about life generally, couldn't you? I think, you know, with footballers, if you want to keep these young players, someone else will pay the money. And that's the problem. That's the problem. So the kids have too much too soon. And they don't know how to fight. They don't know how to, you know, graft for it. You know, there's no struggle to get to where you want to get to. And you know, and if you have to fight, as most of us, you know, in normal life do, then you appreciate what you've got. You know, when you get there, these guys get it so soon, and it's all money. Money's killed football, unfortunately, in so many different ways. And this is just one example. You know, the kids have got nothing to strive for, have they? It's everything's easy come, easy go. And I don't mind rewarding talent, but let's do it let's do it in a reasonable and a sensible way. You know, something that's gonna help the kids with their growth as people. You know, to suddenly be on, you know, couple of million a year at 19, 20. There's no, you know, unless they've got parents that keep them grounded, unless they've got a very good agent who's going to invest their money wisely and keep their feet on the ground. You know, these kids get self-importance, and unfortunately goes to their head, and you know, several of them don't last and sort of drift out. And I mean, Dele Alli, what perfect example.
Yeah.
So much so young, fabulous talent, went to his head, started concentrating on outside football activities. You know, it was, and unfortunately, you know, we all saw he should have been still at Spurs, scoring 20 goals every season and being a major player, and a major player for England as well. He was that talented. But unfortunately, the money got to his head. He was, you know, he was getting models, you know, for girlfriends, and it was, you know, it took him into a world completely different to what he'd been brought up in. Some players can handle it, some players can't.
And then look at him in the documentary, though, Lubo. Look at him in the All or Nothing when Jose Mourinho, a serial winning manager, is trying to talk to him about, hey, you're a top player, but you're here. How do we get you to there? And Dele Alli's just laughing. Like, and that for me kind of summed up when people are going, oh, I feel sorry for Dele and he could have, sure. But when you've got a top manager, you know, telling you, hey, this is what you need to do. Surely, Ben, at that stage, that's where as a Dele Alli, you go, hang on, let me prioritize.
The difference between, in that documentary, it's the difference between Harry Kane and Dele. It was Dele was sort of despondent, and Harry Kane was like, I want to be where Ronaldo is. I want to be where Messi is. And Mourinho was just like, yes, finally someone that speaks English here. Finally, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Ben, I know you need to jump, don't you?
Yeah. I need to jump.
Care, I'll see you soon.
Cheers,
don't be a stranger.
See you, Ben.
See you,
Ben. In a bit.
See you, Ben. I just think, you know, when you look at good influences in a dressing room, Sav, we lost in quick succession Kane, Lloris, Perisic, Højbjerg. So you look at those four professionals that all went very, very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
and it leaves a vacuum in the dressing room, doesn't it? Where's the leadership? And I think Spurs have suffered from that quite badly.
I agree. I agree. But this is where the mixed message is, right, from the manager. This is where for me, the managers, listen, I'm going to say if he stays, I'm going to stop saying that. Ange is our manager until we hear otherwise, right? Ange, for me, needs to be stronger, Lubo. He needs to go in and say to them, I don't want any more kids. No more 19-year-olds. No more youth project. I need leaders. I need experience. And then if he doesn't get that, walk. Tell us why you've walked, and I'll turn around and respect him. Fair play, Ange. You walked because they won't give you what you want. Right? That's why I respect Conte. I respect Conte for what he said. Listen, do I think he went about it the right way? Maybe not, but the message was on point. So for me, go and say to them, listen, I don't want... Hang on, there's breaking news. Millie Bright rules herself out of Euro 2025, and Inter Milan have asked Como for permission to speak to Cesc Fabregas. So Inter Milan looking at Cesc Fabregas. He's risen up the ranks pretty quickly in management, hasn't he, that lad? But you're right. I didn't look at it like that, Lubo. Lloris, Kane, Perisic, Højbjerg, Dyer, whatever we thought of them as players and whether they were good enough, we didn't replace them with more voices.
No.
We didn't replace them.
No, we didn't. We didn't. And it was, you had 4 kids in Solanke last summer. Now, for me, Solanke was there. That was Angie's choice. As far as the kids are concerned, I thought that was a good window, because if you've got good kids with potential that you can build on, then you get them before other clubs. They cleared a lot of dead wood out. So there were 2 areas that for me worked very well in last summer's transfer window. The biggest area was the one we fell down on, which was replacing those established players, those leaders. We didn't replace them, and because of that, you've seen the team suffer.
But this is why when everyone jumps on and talks to me about, but Sav, it's a youth project. This is what I'll say every time. Fine, buy 1 or 2 kids, but 4 or 5 have got to be senior pros to go along with that. And the words youth project drive me crazy. It drives me crazy. You can have a youth project all you want. Who's teaching them? Who are they learning from? Who are they looking at in training?
But it wasn't a youth project, was it? Because Graham Bergvall only played because of injury. Mikey Moore had literally a handful of games. Everybody else went out on loan. Ajayi came on for half an hour in a Europa. Alasesi came on for a few minutes. That was it. This was no youth project. Tyrese Hall was nowhere near after QPR pre-season. So, and he sent out Phillips and Dorrington, Abbott, Donnelly, Keeley, Gunter. I mean, they all went. There were 13 players on loan. Called it 12 because Højbjerg was that was an obligation to buy. But you had 12 kids out on loan. So Lancashire, it certainly wasn't a youth project, and that was Ange's decision. His decision to send these guys out on loan for another year.
Yeah.
So where people conflated the summer transfer window with youth project, it really wasn't. It was purely buying kids for the future. Wasn't buying kids to Bergvall has broken through. Gray had plenty of games, but not in the right position. So, with Gray, it's 50-50. He should have played in midfield more, but he should have been brought in against Leicester, Ipswich, Alkmaar, Karabag, those sort of games.
Agreed.
And we should have had the players available so that he didn't have to drop into defence when we had injuries. To give him a run out in those games, and give him half an hour or start him in a game. And let him get into his stride. It's a level up, or more than one level from the Championship. So give him a chance. He was never given a chance in midfield properly, in a cohesive, structured way, an organised way. So this was no youth project. It really wasn't. Arsenal had a few injuries. Lewis Skelly and Nweri were thrown in by Arteta, just put in there. and given a chance over several games. Ange hasn't done that. Not with Gray,
No,
not with Moore, not with anybody else. So
no, I agree. And this is the thing. This is why, Lubo, when people say to me, "Oh, you're harsh on Tell, you're harsh," it's not the player I've got a problem with. It's the strategy. It's that if you are going to go and buy Tell, who's he learning from? Who is Matisse Tell? If Matisse Tell comes in and Son goes out, who is this guy learning from? Who on the coaching staff, who in the playing staff is he learning from? Right? And this is so vitally important. You watch Beckham talk. You watch Neville talk. You watch Scholes and Giggs talk. They talk about, we watched Mark Hughes every day. We watched Ince every day. We watched Paul Parker. We watched Steve Bruce and Pallister. We watched Cantona. I remember watching Giggsy talk about, I watched Lee Sharp.
Sure.
Remember Lee Sharp? Yeah?
Yeah, of course.
Giggsy was talking
him
about...
and Kanchelskis on either wing, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And Beckham was learning from Kanchelskis. Lee Sharp, Giggs talked about learning from Lee Sharp. And I look at this and go, okay, brilliant. So you bring in Tell. Right. So you've now got Tell and Moore who are on the left. Who's learning from who? Who are they learning from? And I just think we've got to stop this. But Lubo, let's I don't know how long you've got. I know you're driving. You got a few minutes?
Yeah, I've got a few minutes. Go on.
Yeah. Again,
Can
are
you hear
you...
me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear. I'm just going through a dodgy 300 yards on here. It'll clear totally in a second.
No worries.
Go on,
Yeah,
far away.
I mean, for me, I think the interesting thing, if we move away from that now, I think the interesting thing for me now is we are exactly 2 weeks since the Europa League. And I feel like if ever there was a football club that needed some communication, some confirmation of manager staying, director of football coming in, new owners, same owners, it's Tottenham Hotspur, isn't it, Lubo? If ever communication was needed.
Oh God! Listen, if you're talking to any player, right? Who's the manager? Don't know. Who's the director of football? Nothing confirmed yet. Who's going to join? You can't take those talks forward until players know who they're working for, and that would feature in any walk of life. Who's my boss going to be? Who am I sitting down actually working for, taking instructions from? Oh, I've no idea. Well, who knows whether they'll like me or not, like my style of play. If it's me and you like our work, the way we carry ourselves. And that's the problem. Until this is resolved, we're out the game, and everybody else is in the game, and we're out the game. So there's
Oh, we might have lost Lubo for a few seconds there. We'll try and get him back in a minute. But guys, let me know what you think. Why are we not hearing anything? Let me change this. What do you as fans of the club, what do you want to hear? What is it that you want to hear from the club at the moment? Is it manager confirmation? Is it what's happening in the transfer window confirmation? Is it who's going to be our director of football? What confirmation do you lot as fans want to hear? What do you want to hear as fans? Do you want to hear it's about the manager? Because like Lubo said, we need to hear. We need to hear. Lubo, there's been so much about Ange the last few weeks. I'm pretty comfortable now that the guy's staying. I can't imagine Spurs would be this neglectful to leave it this long. How are you feeling in that?
I think he'll go. I think Levy's gone away from everything, away from the emotion, to clear his mind, clarify his thoughts, take some advice, and come back and make a decision. But he's got to make it quickly because, as I said, we're falling behind in the transfer market. Listen, there's plenty of time to go. I think it's, where are we? 1st to the 10th, and then the 16th onwards. So it's gonna, it's very early days. Where are we now? 3rd of June. It's still early. This is only the third day in, and I'm sure Spurs have been talking to players in the background as well. But to start moving forward, they've got to get clarity as to the director of football and the manager. This has got to be sorted out ASAP, and then we can get down to sorting out players. You know, a lot of the players that have been going, Spurs wouldn't have been buying anyway. You know, City are in for Turkey. You know, would he have come to Spurs with City there? Doubtful. You know, once these big boys go in, we're not going to get a shout, are we? So, but I'm sure they've got targets that we don't even know about, and they've got to start getting people signed, because the manager, whoever the manager is, needs players when training restarts in 4 weeks' time, and they go into friendlies. We've got PSG, we've got Bayern Munich, we've got Arsenal. I mean, we got from the end of July. So we've got 3 or 4 weeks building up to the big pre-season friendlies. So they've got to get a move on. This is going to be done. It's got to be done correctly. You know, for us to have a proper chance of hitting the ground running come August the 16th. They've got to get their act together fast.
Do you think? I'd love to get your opinion on this, Lubo. Forget us as fans for 1 minute. Do you think that all of this uncertainty that we're all seeing translates to players, to their agents, to other clubs when we're going to be looking and talking and linked to these players? Do you think they're all going to look at this as well and be like, "What the F is going on?"
Yes and no. I think for the players that are happy there at the club, that have got a few years left on their contracts, and where there is no question of them, there's been no conversation.
No players
about
coming in, not our existing players. The players players coming in, and in terms of existing players, people like Romero, who has openly, that they've asked him, that I read a report, they've been trying to get him to sign new contracts, and he hasn't yet. I presume he was obviously waiting to see whether Spurs are in the Champions League or not. So all his answers have been given. So now it's up to him, and who knows whether he's going to sign or not. Got no idea. I think it probably depends on how much money Atletico Madrid put down. I think Spurs are in a very strong position. He's got 2 years left on his contract. If Atletico Madrid wants him that much, then I think I don't think, for a player of his ability, who would probably be perfect under Simeone, I don't think it's unreasonable for Spurs to be asking 75 million. I think, top players are at an absolute premium, and because of that, I think Spurs should be asking that. We've got Danzo to come in as a replacement, who is very, very capable, and we got Vuskovic, who is being touted as the next big thing, who's only 18. But if we've got another, the Brighton boy, Huyson, if we've got another one of those coming in, then fantastic. But as I said before, players are not going to sign while they've got no idea who the manager's going to be. But do you think could we all be having this conversation, Lubo, and maybe everyone does know? Maybe it's just the fans that we're all having this mini drama. Maybe there is no drama. Maybe the fans, the players know, the agent, maybe all the intermediaries, maybe they do all know that Ange is just staying, and we're all creating drama. Are we being drama queens? Or is there too much smoke?
If Ange was staying, everything leaks out, and I think if the decisions to keep Ange had been made, then I would have expected this to have been given in Levy's statement. When he was talking to the players, we look forward. He could have quite easily said, absolutely fantastic, we're coming back, we're looking forward to taking the club further forward with Ange next season. Could have quite easily said that, but didn't. That would have shut everything down, and everybody would have known Ange's here come August. Didn't say that. So he left it open. You leave something open, there's a vacuum. You know, you then have theories coming out and people saying this and that on social media and in the press. Is he staying? Is he not staying? You know, if Spurs are after a player and that player, for argument's sake, would love to play under Xavi, but not under Ange, then that player's going to sit back and think, okay, you know, the money they've offered is fine. Spurs is the big club. There's Champions League football, another tick. But who's the manager going to be? I'm going to sit tight. I don't need to rush. I can come back to this in a couple of weeks' time when, you know, when Spurs have made their decision. And I think that's where we are. I think we're just not moving at the moment because we can't.
Yeah.
We can't. You know, there may be players that don't care, that are just happy for the move. There might be free transfers who are looking at it thinking, do you know what? I've got to get myself sorted. I've got my last paycheck coming in at the end of June. I've got a family to look after, and they will say, fine, okay, I'll go for it. Either or, whichever. I'm happy. But most players won't. Most players will be waiting to see who our manager is and go from there. So Spurs have got to get that resolved very, very quickly.
So if I had to push you, do you think he's more out than he is in because of the radio silence and the fact that he's not been backed by the owner saying it? So you think he's more gone than not?
I think it comes down to the professional question, which is, can he take us forward? Is he the manager to take the club forward? I think it's as simple. The question there about Ange, it's as simple as that. He doesn't have the safety net of a Europa League. You look at the league form over 2 seasons. For me, that gives me my answer. I think he's a very good manager up to a certain level, but after that level, which we need, I don't see us taking us forward. I honestly don't. I know there are a lot of people that will disagree with me, that will think, well, he got us 5th and then a European trophy, which, you know, under normal circumstances, you think, do you know what, that's great. That's real good progression. And if you've slipped from 5th to 8th or 5th to 10th, but you've got that European trophy, then I suppose you can look at it and think, well, okay, the league form's gone a bit. It did in Venables' season. You know, we were 3rd, I think, and we slipped down. I think we won 2 games from January, the year we won the FA Cup in '91. So it does happen. There is precedent there. I just think there are so many different things: the rotation, the lack of in-game management, with how he's dealt with the kids, just the lack of tactics, the system being wide open. There are so many other factors here. This isn't. He's tried to be innovative without being flexible.
Innovative.
So, and I think that's innovative
without doing it. Yeah.
So I just think that's and for me, can he take us up to the next step? Can he be winning us League Cups like Eddie Howe or FA Cups? I mean, you know, to win a domestic trophy next season, for me, is an upgrade level wise on the Europa League. So that's a step up. You know, but people will, it's only the League Cup. Well, it doesn't matter. It's only the League Cup. There are only 3 trophies. There are only 3 trophies up for grabs domestically. Would that be an upgrade? We've got friends. My wife's from Newcastle. We've got friends up there that are over the moon. League Cup, who cares? We've won a trophy. You know, it's important. And you know, they beat Arsenal and Liverpool to win it. So it's. You know, nobody can poo-poo the Carabao Cup, and you know, and I've heard people say, you know, in terms of order, you've got Champions League, Premier League, Europa League, FA Cup, Carabao Cup. I just think they're all important. All of them are important.
Well, don't forget, Newcastle United to win this League Cup, right, had to beat Brentford, Chelsea, Arsenal, and Liverpool, right? Bear in mind, Liverpool, Arsenal's over 2 legs. So they've had to play, right, 5 games against top 10 teams to win that trophy. As you keep saying, Lubo, Spurs this year have only beaten top 10 teams 4 out of 20 occasions. So I agree. To win the cup next year, everyone's going, oh, a League Cup will do. The League Cup's going to be harder to win than the Europa League. Let's be brutally honest.
That's right. It will be.
It's
Because
just mad.
ultimately you'll end up with a better team. You'll end up with a better team in the later stages than probably Frankfurt. I mean, Frankfurt was for me, that away result was our best result of the season, I thought, by an absolute mile. You went
who were
there,
the
they could
four?
have been 1 up in the first.
Villa, City, and Brentford twice. Is that right?
That was it. Yeah, that was it. That was it. Those 4.
Sorry. So let's hang on. If I look at the Premier League table, present share screen. Hang on, just quickly. Sorry, my StreamYard's playing up lately. So if I look at the Premier League table, didn't beat Liverpool once in the league, didn't beat Arsenal once in the league, beat City once, lost both times to Chelsea, lost both games to Newcastle, beat Villa once, lost both to Forest, lost both to Brighton, drew and lost to Bournemouth, and beat Brentford twice. So basically, and then even if you want to move it down to 11th and 12th, Lubo, move this down to 11th and 12th. What did we do against Fulham?
Go on.
I don't know. Well, we lost to them at home.
No, we drew. We drew 1 and lost 1. No,
drew
we
1,
drew
lost
with
1.
We drew with them at home.
Okay, so we didn't beat Fulham.
Drew at home, lost away.
What about Palace? Did we lose both to Palace?
We lost twice.
Right. So here we go.
Yeah.
So hang on. That is now Everton. We beat Everton once and we beat West Ham once. Here we go, guys.
Yeah.
So out of the top 14, how many games is that? 22, 24, 26, 28. Out of those 28 games,
28
we won
games.
4. 1 against Everton, 1 against West Ham. So we beat, out of the top 14, we won 6 games all season in 28 attempts.
Yeah.
That is absolutely
which is my feeling.
Horrific.
It's not good, is it? It's not
but-
good. This is. We shouldn't be 17th. You know, if injuries had an effect, and the rotating had an effect as well. But even allowing for that, there are so many other factors involved here that for me, we're better off saying, right, for Christ's sake, you know, hopefully if Levy doesn't go, he's moved away from football. Munn goes, Paratici comes in, you've got Vinay in, you've got Charrington who's in for the investment side, because we need outside investment. And all of a sudden, bang, 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 we get a good manager in, and the whole thing now seems much, much better, from top to bottom. Because it's tired. It's a tired club. You had the same Levy in his inner circle now for 24 years. Same thoughts, same ideas, and Spurs need a freshen up badly. They really do.
So it's 6 wins in 28.
There you go.
Against the top 14. And there are fans that want this manager to stay. Hang on, am I right? So the top 10 would have been 20 games, yeah, and then the next, another 8 games against that next 4. So hang on, where did our wins cut? Hang on, who did we even beat?
We got. Well, let's just work this out. We got 18 points from Man United, Brentford, and Southampton out of the 38. So it was 18 from 3. And we picked up bits and pieces. We got wins against City, Villa, West Ham.
God, it's awful, isn't it? When you go through it like this, Lubo, it's absolutely horrendous.
You're struggling to think who else.
So hang on, let's have a look. Let's have a look. So Southampton, we beat twice. There's 2 wins, right?
Was it 11? We won 11, didn't we? We beat.
Yeah. So, hang on.
2 for Southampton, 2 for Brentford, 2 for United.
Hang on. I'm going up the table, Lubo. I'm going up the table just so it's visually for the people watching.
Okay.
So 2 Southampton, 1 against Ipswich. We didn't beat Leicester.
Yeah.
We didn't beat Wolves, did we?
No,
No, we drew and lost.
no.
2 against
Yeah.
Man United, 1 against West
That's
Ham,
5,
1 against Everton,
6,
and then Villa,
7.
Brentford twice, and City.
City.
That is
Yeah.
absolutely diabolical. Like
So
that
we
is
beat 8. We beat 8 of the 19 teams this season.
what
There you
that
go.
is just mind blowing.
3 of them twice.
I didn't even think about it like that. So from the top, and people are sitting there saying to me that they don't want a coach that can come in and fix that. I love that. I truly, truly love that. Let me ask you, in terms of Paratici, we keep hearing a lot that he's coming back. Do we even know? Is this definite, Lubo? Has anyone announced that Paratici is back and working with a club or starting in July? Like, I feel like we just don't know anything.
Well, his ban ends on June the 29th. He's been seen in the ground at home games for several matches towards the end of the season. So you put those two things together. You look at it should be, if you put 2 and 2 together, it should be 4. But there's been no formal announcement. Now that could be a situation that they're just getting all their ducks in a row at Spurs, and then there's going to be a whole raft of announcements in one go, and they're going to say, right, this is our new team, which would make sense. That would make sense. So, and the ban doesn't finish till June the 29th, which is is that a Friday? Thursday? Where are we now? 29th. It's a Sunday.
What you asking?
Sunday.
So what day is the what?
His ban ends June the 29th, so he could theoretically start on Monday the 30th. Is it Monday the 30th or?
So June the 29th is
July?
June the 29th is a Sunday, so he could effectively start on the Monday.
So
30th.
So yes. So listen, today's what, the 3rd? So 4th. There's no panic. There's no panic. You know, everything could be announced in one go, which I think they're probably going to do. I think everything will be announced in one hit. Makes sense. It makes sense because it brings clarity. It shows a direction. And for me, that will be the best way of doing it.
It's,
so
I'll tell you what,
what
Lubo,
happens in the next few days.
For everything we've talked about, I never thought about it like that. Like the top 14 to take, what do we say, 6 wins from the top 14 is absolutely disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
That is unbelievable. Thank God we played Southampton twice.
I think the overriding factor from last season I think there's 2. I think we had a season of extremes, didn't we? And I think it was fantastic. I think you can't, we spoke about how important it was for the club going forward to win the trophy.
Sure.
So I think it's absolutely massive. The Europa League win is massive, and the league drop off is massive. So we've got 2 extremes. I think we've got to keep both are the same. One's very, very good, and one's very, very bad. And I think we've got to keep a perspective on this. I think for me, the season is defined by the Europa League win, by the fact we're in the Champions League, because as Dan was saying on the show last night, you've got to be in it to get the money, to pay the wages, to bring the players in. So unfortunately, money is dominating football, and it is a business first and foremost. The league form,
I keep being told it doesn't matter though.
They've got to look at it in isolation.
I keep being told that doesn't matter.
No, it does matter. No, the league form obviously matters, and if we'd have lost, then you could turn around and say, the ramifications are absolutely horrendous. I think the club got away with it, got away with 17th place, because the Europa League win in effect gives you the same prize, with a trophy that second, third, fourth, and fifth gives you. Obviously, Liverpool champions, they won. You know, they're top dogs. They've won a trophy. But second, third, fourth, and fifth, and Tottenham have all gained entry into next year's Champions League. So if you started off the season and you said, what in August, what do you want from this season? You say, fine, we finished fifth. We want the trends from the back end of last season to be reversed, and I want to go one better and finish fourth, and which would give you Champions League football, because I don't think anybody seriously thought we'd win a trophy this year. So for me, I think we can't get too carried away with 17th. We can't get too carried away with the trophy win because the league season was so bad. And I think it's just a question of keeping some realism in this. I think it's you know, we just got to look at it and think it was a season of extremes. It has worked out as we wanted. We have achieved our aims. The aim was, you know, if you talk to anybody, if you'd have said to me, Leroy, what do you want? I said, I want to see a trophy. It's been this will be 17 years, and we can't go on not winning a trophy, because as I've said plenty of times before, players are all financially independent. They want to come to a club with ambition. You know, they want to have their personal achievements, and they want to be able to win trophies. So that has been achieved. The league went down the pan. We didn't get relegated. So when you look at it, between 17th and 8th, if you'd have finished 8th this season, you wouldn't have got Europe. If you'd have said to me, give me 8th and no trophy, or 17th and the trophy, I'd have taken 17th and the trophy, because to get the monkey off our back was absolutely crucial, because you can't keep going on and on without winning trophies.
I get that, but Lubo,
so for me,
can I ask you? Can I ask you a question? And by the way, guys and girls, I will be doing the super chats in a minute. I will be finishing bang on 12:30. And at 12:30, I'm going to ask a favor. I'm going to redirect you all to my own channel, which is my second channel, where I'm doing a live 15-minute transfer update for all other clubs. If you would be so kind to come over there with me, smash that like button and subscribe. That would really, really help me out. I'm putting the link in as well to my second channel. It's in the chat right now. If anyone would be so kind to smash that, it really does help me grow. And starting a second channel is tough. Trust me. I'm 85 away from 2,000, and there is the link in the chat right now. But Lubo, we've got 7 minutes. Just quickly before I do the super chats and round off. Is the worry going to be if a new manager does come in, Lubo, right? Surely they're on a hiding to nothing already, because they won't have the safety comfort of the Europa League. They're going into a harder tournament, and we're a 17th place squad that suddenly people are going to go, well, he hasn't won a trophy. You've got to be top 4 or 5. Isn't the new manager in for an absolute hiding to nothing on that basis?
No, I think people have got to be sensible. They've got to be thoughtful. They've got to be educated. They've got to see where we're coming from. We're coming from. Well, listen. At some stage, people have got to stop being reactionary, because it's just pointless. You know, it doesn't make sense. And you've got to look at a situation and say, right, you've got a new manager coming in. The players will be better in a better system. We've only won one trophy in the last 17 years, so let's not start expecting trophies every season.
Agreed.
And you know, when I go back to the double year, if you go from 60-61, we've only won trophies 10 years out of 65. So this whole thing about, you know, we're averaging trophies every 4 to 5 years. You know, between in the 40 years between winning the double and Enoch coming in. So I think everybody was desperate for the trophy. I think you saw just an outpouring of relief as well as joy when we won the Europa. And I think people have got to be sensible, and people have got to look at a new manager with the players we've got, and the players hopefully that are coming in the summer, and say, right, this is where we are. Let's sort of just have a look at it. Let's see how he does with the players we've got. Forget about last season. Last season's gone. You know, if people want to say, oh, we haven't won a trophy, then you can turn around and say, well, okay, but you're not 17th either. So
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
nullifies the other for me.
But this is my worry,
And,
Lubo.
so, you know,
so many are talking like if we don't win a trophy, every year is a failure. I don't think we're a big enough club to be saying
it's not,
that.
is it? It's not.
No.
The only time we were a big enough club for that was in the early 60s when we won 2 in 61. We won the FA Cup in 62, the Cup Winners' Cup in 63. And then we followed up 4 years later with the FA Cup. We won four trophies in 7 years. And then we won 3 in 4 in the 80s. We won 2 in 3 in the 70s. But since then, you know, you go from 84 to 91 to 99 to 08 to 25. So there are big gaps since 84. So for the last 41 years, we've won 4 trophies. So that we're averaging every 10 years at the moment. So people can't be expecting a trophy every year. They've got to look at precedent here. So and I think, you know,
by the way,
sensible,
just
so
quickly,
hopefully sensible voices on YouTube will keep reminding them.
Just quickly, because I do need to read the super chats and then I will transfer everyone over. And if they'd be so kind, thank you for the 10 people that did just subscribe. My mate Glenn, my stat guy, just said that last year Spurs beat out of 19 games against the top 10, 18 games against the top 10 last year because we would have been in it, right? So out of 18 last year against the top 10, we won 6, right? We've won 4 against the top 10 this year. That means in 38 attempts against the top 10, Angepostecoglou has won 10 of them and not won the other 28.
Yeah.
That is, if that doesn't tell you over 2 years, I don't know what will, Lubo.
Sure.
Yes, cup run, but if that doesn't tell you over 2 years that this manager isn't cut out for the Premier League. And again, people like Reezy, you'll ignore that stat. 10 wins out of 38 against the top half of the table in 2 years is absolutely dreadful. I don't know about the previous years, but I don't remember it being this bad. I just don't remember it being this bad. But hey, listen, Lubo, I'm going to leave it out.
Again, I think. Go on.
No, go.
I was just going to say, away games against top 6, the results have been poor for several years.
Sure.
Unfortunately,
sure.
I think since the Poch years, they've been quite poor.
But after, look,
listen,
a 25% win rate against the top 10 over 2 years is absolutely shocking. Listen, I'm going to do some super chats and then round off. Big up to Simon Bergen, who just chucked in a super sticker. Nothing wrong with just chucking in a super sticker. Really appreciate you, my friend. Thank you very much. Really appreciate your support. Thank you on that one. Tony, always very generous, has put in a few today as well. Thank you, Tony. Said, which club had a better season and is more attractive to play, Spurs or Newcastle? It's absolutely Newcastle right now for me. Manager is in place. Everyone loves the manager. They are a well-organised team. They're tactically flexible. They've got players like Bruno Guimaraes, Joe Linton, Botman. They've got good players like Anthony Gordon, Isak. They're signing well, the likes of Lewis Hall and Livramento. They've got a really good director of football. They've got a good owners. I think it's definitely them.
They did have a good DOF.
Yeah, he's gone, isn't he?
He's gone.
But you know they're going to get, they're so well run. You know they're going to bring in someone good. They just are. Big up to you, Tony. Thank you for that. Vineet has come in and said, currently Spurs can't attract top targets. Need to get some decent players and a coach who improves them, and Ange Clear isn't that guy. Vineet, hence why I'm not against the likes of Iriola or Frank. They are coaches. If ever you look at a team and think it needs coaching, it is Tottenham Hotspur. Big up to you, Vineet. Thank you very much. Jordan, very generous. So Tottenham have only 4 players in the entire squad that is on more than 100k a week, which is why players like Sane won't want to join. Again, as I've said all along, footballers will look at more factors than what they're being paid. They will look at, who am I playing with? Oh, I'm playing with Brennan Johnson and Dominic Solanke. I've been playing with Harry Kane and Elise and Musiala, and people have got to remember these things. Big up to you, Jordan. Appreciate that. And then 2 more from Tony. Massive fan of the channel. Massive help to the channel. Said all of the above, like a big club. mate, imagine we started acting like a big club. Thank you so much, Tony. And then you've come back in again and said, how many subscribers will you lose when the fraud is gone? I like to think that my viewers don't watch me just because of Ange conversation. I'd like to think that people can understand I have more football conversation than that. Let's hope I don't lose subscribers when he goes. I think that'd be really disappointing because there'll be a new manager that we can talk about and new players. But big up to you. Thank you, Tony. I'm going to send you all over now. Please join me and smash the like. It's only a 15-minute live. Smash the like. Add some comments. Please subscribe. Join me over there right now. Lubo, thank you very much. Love you as always. And everybody, take care. And as always, come on, you Spurs. And Spurs, please let us know what's going on. Please, just some communication. Pretty please. Goodbye.